What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we're checking out the Yeedi Vac 2 Pro. So this is a robot vacuum that has 3D obstacle avoidance. That means that it will go around your house, it will vacuum all by itself, and it will also avoid the objects that you may have on the floor. Of course, whenever this is done a cleaning cycle, it will go back to its charging station and charge. Now this is also a mop, so this comes with this mopping module right here, and this is also a bit different than most other robot vacuums that I got to try, and that's because the mopping plate here at the bottom also moves. So basically whenever this mops, the mopping plate does this. It's a bit difficult to capture that on camera, but basically the mopping plate moves, and that will help to remove stains easier and basically keep your floors cleaner. But we'll talk more about that later on in the video. Alright, so you can buy this vacuum by itself. If you buy it by itself, of course, in the box, you're still gonna find the mopping module. Here, you're gonna find the user manual, so you have a cable and the docking station for the vacuum. So if the vacuum is done a cleaning cycle, it will go back to that docking station. Now, if you buy it by itself, you're gonna have to empty the dustbin whenever it gets full. But you can also buy this vacuum with this self-emptying station that I have to my right here. And if you buy it with a self-emptying station, then you're not gonna have to empty that dustbin because the vacuum will empty itself out in the self-emptying station. So basically the self-emptying station here becomes the dock for the vacuum. So whenever the vacuum is done a cleaning cycle, it will go back here. Inside the self-emptying station, we have this bag here. I have it removed, but basically this stays inside the self-emptying station here. And according to the manufacturer, you're not gonna have to clean this for about 30 days. But I guess that really depends on your situation, how big your house is, if you have pets and so on. In my case, because I don't have pets and I have another vacuum that cleans every so often, this will probably last me for about 3 months before I have to replace this and get a new one. So that's the advantage of having the self-emptying station. You're not gonna have to clean the vacuum manually for a long period of time. Now, the self-emptying station also gets a bit loud whenever it's emptying the dust from your vacuum here. So if that's the first time you're gonna hear it, it may sound a bit scary. So I want to play a little clip just so you can see how loud it gets. Basically, the vacuum goes back to its docking station. The docking station is the self-emptying station, and this will take all the dust and everything you have inside the dustbin here. So let me play that short clip just so you can hear how loud it gets. Okay, so I played that just so you get an idea of how loud this gets, but it's basically on par with all the other self-emptying robot vacuums that I got to try in the past. So like most robot vacuums these days, this one gets connected to your home's Wi-Fi network, and you can also control this from an app on your smartphone. The app is called the Yeedi App, and the app is available on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. I personally have been using the app with my iPhone, so I haven't actually tried it on an Android device. So after you install the app, you basically pair the vacuum to the app on your phone, and then you can control everything about the vacuum right from your phone. When you first get the vacuum going, it's gonna map out your entire house. And to map out your entire house, this vacuum is using a camera that we have at the top here and a variety of sensors that we have on the front here. So this vacuum doesn't have a LiDAR navigation system like other vacuums that I got to try in the past. However, this still maps out your entire house. It knows exactly where it is at all times. It knows exactly where it's been. So there isn't that big of a difference between this particular one and other ones that have a LiDAR navigation system. Now, an upside to not having a LiDAR navigation system is the fact that the vacuum is a bit smaller, so it's not as high as other vacuums that I got to try in the past. So this one can actually go under my coffee table, under the couch, and so on. With other vacuums that I got to try in the past, they are a bit taller, so they cannot go under all surfaces. So maybe that is an upside for this one because it can actually go under those surfaces. From the app, aside from setting schedules, from seeing the map and sending the vacuum wherever you want in your house, in a certain place in your house, you can also select the suction power for the vacuum. Now, personally, I use it at the maximum suction power at all times, but that's not only this vacuum. I actually use all my vacuums at the maximum suction power. Of course, if you're using it at the maximum suction power, it makes more noise and it will use the battery up quicker. Now, battery-wise, this can go for about 3 hours, I'm gonna say. So in my case, because my house is not that big, the vacuum is done a cleaning cycle in about an hour, and I still have about 65% left on the battery. So that means that you can get about 3 hours of vacuuming time on one charge. And you can also select how wet the mop here should be. So you can choose the suction power and the wetness level of the mop here. The vacuum has plenty of suction power, so it will do great over carpets or hard floors. At the bottom here, we also have a brush. So in the center here, basically the suction hole is just underneath that brush. So everything kind of gets pulled towards this suction hole here. And on the side here, we also have a little brush that kind of pushes the dirt towards the center of the vacuum. So in my case here, in my house, because I have a combination of carpets and hard floors, the vacuum does really good and it will pick up everything from the floor at all times. Since we are talking about the bottom of the vacuum here, of course, at the bottom here, we also have the wheels. These are the holes where the vacuum self-empties itself out in the self-emptying station. We also have some sensors on the sides here. So those sensors are basically used so the vacuum doesn't fall down the stairs. Personally, I don't have any stairs at home here, but if you do have stairs, the vacuum will not fall down those stairs. The brush here can also be removed. In my case, I do get a lot of hair on that brush, so every so often I have to remove the brush. It's very simple to do so actually, and remove the hair from it, and then of course I have to put it back. But every house is different, so you may not have that hair issue that I'm having. But basically you have to clean that brush every so often, and these sensors every so often as well. Moving on to the front of the vacuum, well, here on the front we have a variety of sensors. So in the front here, on the sides here, and this is also a bumper. As a bumper we have a rubber strip at the bottom here, so even if the vacuum bumps into something in your house, it will not damage whatever you may have in the house because of that rubber strip. As I mentioned earlier, this vacuum has 3D obstacle avoidance, so if you leave something on the floor, it will go around it. Now, it is ideal to remove everything from the floor because the vacuum will do a better job if it doesn't have to avoid certain objects on the floor. But if you do forget something on the floor, the vacuum will not go over it, will go around it. At the top here we have a button, so if you don't want to use the app, you basically press that button once and the vacuum will go on a cleaning cycle. Then we have a camera. That camera is also used when you first pair this vacuum to your smartphone. And here you can open this up and access the dustbin. The dust filter is also located in the dustbin, and of course you can remove that, clean it, or replace it. So pretty straightforward, like most vacuums out there. Now on the back here you can remove this part and then you can install the mopping module. Of course, you fill up the mopping module with water and then the vacuum can go mopping your house. And as I said earlier, you can actually select the wetness level of that mopping pad. The mopping pad can also be removed and washed. And with this installed, I can probably show you a bit better how the mopping pad moves whenever this is mopping. I'm not sure if I'll be able to capture that well on camera, so it does look better if I show it right here. So basically this moves up and down that way, and that's why it cleans the floors better compared to other robot vacuums that don't have this function, the ones that just drag a wet cloth on your floor. So with this one, yes, you will get better mopping compared to other robot vacuums available on the market. So for the time that I've been using the vacuum, which is just over 3 weeks, I haven't really had any issues with it. One day, because I always have the vacuum vacuuming whenever I'm not home, one day did lock itself in to a bedroom. It basically went into a bedroom, the door was not totally open, so it kind of went behind the door and it closed the door, and then it couldn't go back to the charging station, and of course it couldn't finish the cleaning cycle. But that can happen to pretty much any vacuum out there. Now, as I always say, even though we have the 3D obstacle avoidance, it is ideal to clean the floor before you have a vacuum going on a cleaning cycle. Because if it does go over a cable, the cable will most likely go around the brush here, the cable may get damaged, and then the vacuum is gonna get stuck there and it's not gonna finish a cleaning cycle. So I always try to leave the floors as clean as possible before I have a vacuum going on a cleaning cycle. But again, everybody's different, everybody has different timelines and so on. But personally, I try to clean the floors as good as I can before a vacuum goes on a cleaning cycle. So there you have it. This is the Yeedi Vac 2 Pro and the self-emptying station. But as I said, you can just buy the vacuum by itself. You don't necessarily have to buy the self-emptying station for it. The vacuum has great suction power. It gets really good battery life. It has no issues climbing over carpets, getting off carpets, and so on. And whenever it's mopping, it will also know if it's going over carpets, and it will avoid carpets whenever mopping. That's also an important factor. And the mopping from this vacuum is also better than other robot vacuums that I got tried in the past that have a similar mopping system. Of course, there are other more advanced vacuums out there that have different mopping systems, but for this particular system, I feel the mopping is pretty decent as well. Alright guys, hopefully this video was useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.